From the Detroit Free Press, I'm Robin Chan with today's voice briefing. It's Thursday, July 27th, 2023. From politics reporter Arpan Lobo. The Michigan Supreme Court ruled 5-2 that a non-biological LGBTQ parent has the legal right to argue for custody of a child they raised with a same-sex partner before same-sex marriage was legalized in the U.S. in 2015. A majority of the court's justices, ruling in Pueblo v. Haas, found that a spouse who isn't the biological parent of a child does have the right to argue for custody if that parent and the child acknowledge a parental relationship between the two, the individual seeking custody desires to have the rights of a parent, and if the individual is willing to pay child support. In an opinion published Monday, the court remanded the case back to Kalamazoo Circuit Court to consider Carrie Pueblo's standing for custody under that standard, dubbed the, quote, equitable parent doctrine, end quote. For more on this story, you can search for Arpan Lobo's article, Michigan Supreme Court Expands Custody Rights of LGBTQ Parents, on Freep.com. From automotive reporter Eric D. Lawrence. The Chevrolet Bolt isn't going away after all. General Motors announced on Tuesday that the automaker would launch a next-generation Ultium-based Bolt. Details on the updated electric vehicle were limited, and the company didn't say where it would be built. However, the automaker said the Bolt would return to market on, quote, an accelerated timeline, end quote. The company said previously it would stop production of the vehicle at its current home by year's end. CEO Mary Barra highlighted the demand for the current vehicle and the ability to capitalize on affordability. During a conference call with analysts reviewing the automaker's second quarter earnings report, Barra said, quote, this is a very capital efficient, quick way to build on the strong consumer response we have to the Bolt and get an affordable vehicle out into the marketplace, end quote. For more on this story, you can search for Eric D. Lawrence's article, GM Changes Direction, Says It Plans to Make a Next-Generation Chevrolet Bolt EV, on Freep.com. From music writer and critic Brian McCollum and food reporter Susan Salasky. Arts Beats and Eats, Michigan's biggest Labor Day weekend festival and a 26-year Oakland County tradition, is set to return with a national stage lineup headlined by Joan Jett and the Blackhearts, Hailstorm, Russell Dickerson, and Belle Biv DeVoe. The festival, officially known as Soaring Eagle Arts Beats and Eats presented by Flagstar Bank, will hit downtown Royal Oak September 1st through the 4th. Organizers revealed details during a Tuesday event in Royal Oak, including the full lineup of 200-plus music acts and family entertainers on 9 stages, along with dozens of participating restaurants and food vendors. The national stage artists lead a music schedule dominated by area performers, including AB&E staples such as The Reefer Men, Polish Muslims, Sean Blackman's In Transit, Jennifer Westwood and the Handsome Devils, and Tino G's Dumpster Machine. For more on the story, including details on this year's new designated cannabis zone, you can search for Brian McCollum and Susan Salasky's article, Joan Jett, Belle Biv DeVoe lead Arts Beats and Eats lineup, 50-plus restaurants announced, on Freep.com.
I'm Andrew Burkle with the Free Press Sports Department. And on Wednesday, we learned the Michigan and Michigan State football game this fall is set to be played under the lights in East Lansing. What could go wrong? College football insider Brett McMurphy first reported the news in a tweet previewing the new Big Ten and NBC partnership, which will bring a weekly night game to the conference. Michigan State reportedly has 4 games that will air on NBC this year, and one of those will be a showdown with the Wolverines, the first ever night game between the two teams in East Lansing. Of course, last year's game was a night game as well, but the final score quickly became an afterthought when the game was marred by a fight in the tunnel at Michigan Stadium, as 2 Michigan players were assaulted when a back and forth turned ugly. In the end, 8 Michigan State players were suspended and 7 were handed criminal charges. Kari Crump was the only player handed a felony charge, and that was eventually pleaded down so he could avoid jail time. MSU football coach Mel Tucker was asked about the game being played at night at Big Ten Media Day, to which he replied, "We'll be there." Oh, and did we mention the state of Michigan just recently passed a law allowing college stadiums to sell alcohol this fall on campus? Like we said at the start, what could go wrong? We've got a lot more coverage on this topic, including what people had to say about the big announcement. So head over to our website at freep.com/sports for the full report.
Find more from the Detroit Free Press by visiting freep.com. That's FREEP.com. Thanks for listening, and you'll hear more from us tomorrow.